Okay, you guys, we're back on the January 2020 exam, heading into the 4-pointers now in your packet. And we're going to start with number 33 and see what's going on here. Sonia is cutting wire to construct a mobile. She cuts 100 inches for the first piece, 80 for the second, 64 for the third. Assuming this pattern continues, write an explicit equation, AN, the length of... So I'm just going to put the letter A here next to that so you guys know what I'm doing. So part A. So the first number was 100. Second number is 80, 64, and they're telling us that's going to keep going. All right. So this is one of our geometric arithmetic pattern questions. All right. And everybody see this part here, explicit equation. We're just going to our formula sheet. Okay. And it's either going to be arithmetic or geometric because they said they wanted A of n. Everybody see those are the A of n formulas. Now, arithmetic means you're adding or subtracting to get from number to number. So let's take a look at this. Here we would have subtracted 20. Did we subtract 20 again? Nope. So it's not that one. It's going to be geometric. So I'm going to write down that formula, which is AN equals A1R to the n minus 1. And now all I have to do is fill in the blanks. So I'm going to bring down the AN. Remember, A little 1 means the first number, which is 100. And R is how you get from number to number. And remember, with geometric, the trick is you do the second number over the first one. So I go to my calculator and quit out of there. Alpha y equals 80 over 100. It's 4/5, right? And if you're not 100% sure, check it again. Do 64 over 80. It should be the same number. So that's what we're going to put right there. And that's it. So you get 2 points for part A. So that was part A. All right, part B, which I'll put here. Okay. Sonia only has 40 feet of wire, okay, to use. Sonia only has 40 feet of wire to use for the project, and she wants to cut 20 pieces total using. How many will she have enough? So meaning if she did this out to 20 and we add them all up, would we have enough? All right. So that means I need to figure out how far out, how much we'll have in 20. And that's when we're going to go to the series formula. So you're going to go to series, SN. So I'm going to do SN equals A1 minus A1 R to the N all over 1 minus R. So we already have all the numbers. We're just going to reuse them. So we're going to do 100 minus 100. The R is 4/5. We're asking about 20 pieces. Okay, so I'm going to put that in my calculator. Alpha y equals 100. Oop. One minus alpha y equals 4/5. And I'm getting 494. I'm going to write that down. 2353925. Okay, so that's what I'm getting. She has 40 feet. All right. Now, everybody see the 40 feet? And we're talking about inches. So how many inches are in 40 feet? So 40 times 12 inches. When you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 480 inches. So when you add it all up, it's 494. She only has 480. So does she have enough? No. 40 feet is not enough. All right. So do I think this is a tough question? Yes, I do. It's worth 4 points. If you guys can get 2 points out of this, maybe by figuring out, right? By maybe figuring out the first formula or getting the 4/5. If you get little pieces of this, you get some points. You don't write anything down at all, no points. So please make sure you write something down for every question. At least try it. And remember, when they give you formulas to write, please look on your formula sheet. See the AN? That's how I knew it needed to be one of those. And arithmetic means adding or subtracting. Geometric means the numbers are being divided or multiplied. All right, that's that guy. Let's flip this over. All right, now, log graph. Log graph, you go right to the calculator. Okay. Go to y equals. We're going to hit math, right? We're going up. Put a little 3 there, 2 minus x. And then we're going to go to the table. It's very important with log graphs. What we need is the first error for logs. And everyone see the first error happens at 2. So that's where I'm going to start my graph. 2 is an error. Okay. Then we're going to do 1, 0. Then I'm going to write down as many pretty points as I can get. I always write down the zeros too. That's 0.6309. I always like having both zeros. Negative 1, 1. I'm going to look for another pretty point or two. Negative 7, 2. Let's see if there's another pretty one. Not for a long time. Negative 25 is 3. So I probably can't graph that one, but I can get the rest of these. Now, something that's very important. The error is your asymptote. Everybody see the x? That means x equals 2 is the asymptote. I'm actually going to put that in my picture first. So negative 2 is right here, right? You're going to put a dashed line through it. That's your asymptote. Put that in. Then I'm going to start plotting the other points, right? So we've got 1, 0. Oh my God, I plotted it in the wrong spot. Let's see. Let's change that. Actually, I have a fresh one. Let me grab a fresh one for that one. So one of the things you don't want to do is graph something in the wrong spot, like silly Miss Duffy just did. So I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to come back over here. All right. And I'm going to recopy this down. So we have our x, our y, our 2 is the error, right? And then I had 1, 0. Again, I always copy down the zeros on in both columns. Okay. And the same deal, let me say that again. That's important. X equals 2 is the asymptote, which is here. There's 2. So I put that in first. And I use a dash line. Okay. Then I'm going to plot some points. We've got 1, 0. 0 is 0.6. Negative 1, 1. And then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I like to mark where it is. So that's 7, 2. So the picture, remember, comes through here and it goes down forever. So that's our log graph. All right. So what is the domain? So domain means x's. What x's are we using? So how far to the left do we go? Well, to the left forever means negative infinity. Then I'm going to put a comma. How far to the right do we go? We go to 2, and then I put soft brackets around them. That's your domain. Okay. And state the equation of the asymptote. Hey, we already did that. X equals 2. So there you go. I do think you can get several points from this. Do I think you might forget the domain? Sure, but I think you can get maybe the other 3 points. You get 2 points for the graph and 1 point for that guy. All right. Next one, number 35. Algebraically means we have to show math. So go to the easier equation, which is the bottom one. Get one, oops, I had the hiccups there, get one of the letters alone, and I know you guys have the habit of getting the y alone, so let's do that. Let's go here and get the y alone. So I'm going to subtract over the x and add the 1. So y comes out to be negative x plus 1. All right, so now I'm going to come over here and take the top guy, okay, which is x minus 2 squared plus, but you see how there's a y? Instead of using that y, I'm going to use what we just found. So in the second parenthesis, instead of y, I'm going to write negative x plus 1 with a minus 3 next to it squared equals 16. Okay, so now I'm going to clean this up first. That makes negative x minus 2 squared equals 16. All right, now the squares next to the parentheses mean you have to write them twice. Okay. And now we have to do a whole lot of distributing. So I'm going to distribute this side first, right? So it's x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. Okay. I'm going to bring down the plus sign in the middle, right? This guy right here. And now I'm going to carefully distribute this guy. Negative times a negative makes a positive x squared. Negative times a negative makes a positive 2x. Positive 2x. Positive 4. And then I bring down the equals 16. Okay, let's clean this baby up. So this makes x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 16. Okay, and now let's start combining like terms. So we've got 2x squared. These guys cancel each other out. We have a plus 8 equals 16. All right, now we have an x squared in the problem. So I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract over the 16. So I'm going to bring this over here now. So I have 2x squared minus 8 equals 0. Now the reason why we did this is so we could now factor it. Okay? Now I'm going to pull out a 2. Okay? 2. This is the difference of 2 perfect squares. Okay. Now, the 2 we don't need. He's just a number. What we do need are these x's. So we've got x equals negative 2, x equals positive 2. Now, we're almost done. What we need now are the y's that go with both of those. So you see right here, I'm going to plug these into this. So I'm going to do y equals negative 2 plus 1. And when I type that in my calculator, I get a 3. So this makes the point negative 2, 3. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing here for this guy now. Y equals negative positive 2 plus 1, which makes negative 1. And this guy makes the point now. And that is the answer to the question. All right, and then there's one more 4-pointer, which is, if I can find it, over here. Okay, 36. All right, this question, extremely doable. This is a 4-pointer I'm kind of hoping for. The table below gives the air pressures as selected altitudes above sea level. Write an exponential regression. So this is all done in the calculator, you guys. This is where we're going to put the top into L1 and the bottom guy into L2. I usually write those down so the person grading it knows I use the calculator. So how do we use it in the calculator? So let's clear out everything. All right. So regressions, you're going to hit Stat, Edit, and I'm just going to clear out what I have in there left over from class. You guys should have nothing in there because the calculators will be clean when you get them. So L1 is the top column. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I always double check that I typed it in correctly. And L2 is the bottom guy. 101, 90, 79, 70, 62, 54. So again, I'm double checking I typed all the numbers in right. Okay. Then you're going to hit Stat again, Calculate, and they want us to do an exponential. So you're going to go all the way down. So the first one is a line, a quadratic, a cubic, a quarter, a linear again, a log. There's exponential. So hit Enter. And then you go down to Calculate. Okay, and then you're going to copy down this equation. So it's y equals. So don't forget to write the y equals. You'll lose points if you do. Nearest thousands is 3 decimal point places. So the A is 101.523. Make sure you round to 3 decimal point places. I like to put the B in parentheses to separate it. And again, 3 decimal point places. So 883 to the x. So that's the answer. So if I put a little a next to it, that's part A. Right? Now, use this equation to algebraically, so I'm going to put a little b here, okay? Algebraically means we need to see math to determine the altitude to the nearest hundredth if they're giving us 29 is the air pressure. So everybody see air pressure is the y? So we're going to plug 29 into the y here. So I'm going to do 29 equals. Okay. Now, algebraically means we need to do math out. Now, if it did not say algebraically, I want you to put that into y1, that into y2, find the intersection point. But it does say algebraically. So what we have to do is try to get that x alone. So what I'm going to do first is divide by 101. Point this guy. And I'm actually going to leave it a fraction. Okay? Now, anytime we have to solve something and the x is in the exponent, we're going to log it. We're going to put a log in front of both sides. We're going to do log. Now, the whole reason why we log something is that x will fall down in front. So I'm going to do log 29 over 101.523 equals x log 0.883. Okay? Now, to get the log alone, or the x alone, I'm sorry, you divide by that. So I get x equals. Now, notice this log doesn't have a little baby number. That's good, because that means I can just use the log, this log on the calculator screen. So if the log does not have a little baby number, use the log right there on the screen. So I'm going to do log alpha y equals 29 over 101.523, close the parenthesis, divided by, again, use that log there, 0.883, close the parenthesis. And they want us to round to the nearest hundredths. That's 2 decimal point places. So it's going to be 10.07. All right? Now, let's say you're like, oh my God, I cannot remember how to do this. But I knew I could set this up. All right? What I want you guys to do is then do it in the calculator then. Because sometimes I can give you a point if you just have the answer. Okay, so let's talk about how we would do that. We would go to y equals, you would put in 29, 101.523.883 raised to the x. Okay, and then we're going to hit zoom 6. Okay, and what you're going to notice is we're never going to see anything. That is because the numbers we put in are bigger than our window. So check it out. Which is bigger, 29 or this guy? This guy. So you will need your y max to be bigger than 101. So I go to my window, and I go to my y max, and I'm going to make it like 150. And maybe go up by tens. And then hit graph. And we should be able to see both of them now. All right, and you notice they hit over here, okay? So let's do second. We're gonna go 5 for intersect. Maybe move a little closer over there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you get an error message, it means you gotta fix your window again. So quit. All right, go to window, make your X max bigger. Maybe make it 20. So if you get error messages when you're graphing, just make the window bigger. See how you see it better now? So we're going to do it again. Second, trace. I'm purposely making mistakes with the calculator so you guys can see how I'm fixing it. Hey, look, we got the same answer. So if you get stuck, use your calculator to help you get an answer. Okay? Anything is better than nothing. So please write something down. Okay, and finally, all we have left is the 6-pointer. Please do your best. You want to get as many points as you possibly can on the 6-pointer. Okay, 6 points is a lot. So if you can get 2 or 3 points, anything that helps you guys get over the hump, that's all we need. So let's see what this guy says. Sarah is fighting a sinus infection. Her doctor prescribed a nasal spray and an antibiotic. The active ingredients in milligrams remaining in the bloodstream from the nasal spray. So, and this is the nasal spray. And A is going to stand for antibiotics. Okay. So there's 2 questions here. I'm going to put an A next to this again. All right. Determine which drug is made with a greater initial value of active ingredient. Justify your answer. Okay. So what we need to do here, okay, is figure out which drug gives us more at the start. And the big thing is this word initial amount. That's the original amount. So that's when time would equal 0. So the initial amount means where you're starting when you first take it. So what I'm going to do is plug 0 into both of these. So I'm going to put part A here. And I'm going to plug 0 in for T for both questions and see what we get. All right. Oop, don't need that extra parenthesis there. Let me get rid of that. All right. So I'm going to plug 0 into this guy. See what we get. Alpha y equals, right, 0 plus 1 over 0 plus 5. Oop. And like I said, I'm always double checking to make sure I type things right. Plus alpha y equals 18 over 0 squared. Remember, I always put things in parentheses when you square them. Plus 15. So I'm getting 7 over 5. And I would like to know what that is as a decimal just in case. So if you hit math, go to number 2, it's 1.4. All right, so that's what we got for the nose spray. And now we're going to do it again. Now you might be able to do this one in your head. 9 over 3 is 3, right? So determine which drug has the initial greater value, right? So it's A, so the antibiotic is greater. So that is part A. All right, now we're going to do the second question. I'm going to put a B next to it. Okay. Second question. Sarah's doctor told her to take both drugs at the same time. Determine, okay, algebraically again means use math. Determine the number of hours after taking the medications. Both will have the same amount. All right, so they want us to set these equal to each other. So I'm going to put this in a box. Okay, so I'm going to put B here, and we're going to set the equations equal to each other. All right, so this means now we got to get common denominators. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor this guy. He's going to factor into be t plus 5, t plus 3. And then I have to give the other pieces what they're missing. So this is going to be a t plus 3 it needs, right? So this is now going to be t plus 1, t plus 3 all over both pieces. This already has both pieces. And this guy needs the t plus 5 over both pieces. Now, as soon as you notice all the denominators are the same, we can work with just the tops. So I'm going to recopy just the tops down now over here. So I've got t plus 1, t plus 3, plus 18 equals 9, t plus 5. Okay? And now I'm going to do all the distributing. Equals 9t plus 45. All right, so I'm going to start to clean this up now, combine like terms. Oop. 3t plus 1t is 4t. 3 plus this makes 21. Okay, now there's a t squared, so we got to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract over the 9t and subtract over the 45. Right? So I'm going to write it over here. So we have a t squared minus 5t minus 24 equals 0. Okay? That's going to factor into t minus 8, t plus 3 equals 0, t equals 8, t equals negative 3. Now, let's talk about the question. It's about being sick and needing to take drugs. So, the negative time doesn't make any sense. So, I'm going to cross off negative time. So, the answer to this question would be 8. And that is the 6-pointer. Now, again, lots of points to be had here. As long as you guys fought through it and did as much as you can, you're going to get some points. And that wraps up the Algebra 2 January 2020 exam.